My boss is still really angry at me because I'm doing this on a Tuesday. Why do I keep missing Sundays? But anyway, welcome to the Atticus Hour number 10. Yes, it's the 10th Atticus Hour. I cannot believe that. But, yeah. We are going to be learning about some presidents today. Only 2, actually. Because I have a very special surprise for you after we do our second president. By the way, my friend Kristen actually brought over, since I did Calvin Coolidge for the 4th of July edition, you give me this. Hey. Herbert Hoover is my Secretary of Commerce. I hope I did a lot of things in my presidency. No, you didn't. Oh. So we can get that in. So we'll be first learning about Rutherford B. Hayes. There's really not a lot to say about this guy. It was really the time of Reconstruction during when he was president. Yeah. Also, he dealt with many things with the New York Custom House between Roscoe Conkling and Chester A. Arthur. We learned about Arthur, right? Yeah, we learned about Chester Arthur, the guy who took over the presidency after James Garfield died. I also talked about James A. Garfield in the 4th Atticus Hour, in the James and John edition. But anyway, really, he was the first president to visit the West Coast, which was pretty interesting. Though he was not the first president to visit a foreign country, that was Theodore Roosevelt. We also learned about him. Okay. I think we've learned about most of the presidents so far. Yeah. Okay. He was number 19, 1877 to 1881. Fun fact, he had the longest beard of any president. I cannot believe I just said that. Anyway, so also his wife was called Lemonade Lucy because she would not serve alcohol in the White House. But they didn't serve lemonade either, I don't think. So why is she called? You know what? Never mind. Yeah. Really, that's all to say about him. I don't know what else is. Oh, I should have talked about the election. The election was... Okay, let me tell you about his election first. His election was the closest in American history. He lost the popular vote, being the second election to, for the president to actually lose the popular vote, but then win the Electoral College. And so, in the Electoral College, really, people thought Tilden was going to win. Samuel Tilden, who was the Democratic candidate. And it really looked like it. It came down to 3 states. And when the people couldn't choose and it went to the Supreme Court, then the Supreme Court couldn't choose and they didn't know who to decide. And then the Supreme Court said, you know what, let's just give all the votes to Rutherford B. Hayes. He became our president. Yeah, I just wanted to talk about that real quick. Next president. I had a lot of practice on this president. George W. Bush. he is a recent president, and his election was also really confusing and really weird. So he was running against Democrat Al Gore. And so when he was running, Al Gore won the popular vote. But then, in the Electoral College, it came down to 2 states, Ohio and Florida, because in the ballot machines, when they were like punching the holes through, it wouldn't go all the way. So when the fighting went and the arguments went all the way up to the Supreme Court, and George W. Bush's brother, Jeb Bush, was the governor of Florida. So that he just said that all the ballots that they couldn't read, they wouldn't count, and so they just gave the election to Bush. So when he goes into the presidency, 9/11 happens. Now we all know it was a moment in history that will never be forgotten. A lot of people were scared, either angry or sad. So I want to talk to you that most of the people who hijacked the planes, they were from Saudi Arabia. So Afghanistan was bombed first. And Osama bin Laden was known to have been hiding there. So that's why we went to war with Afghanistan. Then we went to war with Iraq, and Bush bombed that too. And I honestly have no clue why. Why did we go to war with Iraq? Just name one reason why we should, okay? Because I do not understand why we needed to. Then, after that, came his re-election in 2004. Now, we all know that was an easy election. We all know that he was going to win. It was not like a candidate like Al Gore, like that election, but the election of 2004, that was really easy for him. Then in 2005 comes Hurricane Katrina. Probably the biggest hurricane ever in the present day or the 21st century so far. It happened like in the southern states, like in New Orleans, Louisiana, Florida, Alabama, states like that. But it mostly happened in Louisiana. And fact, Bush didn't want to help any of the poor black people who went through Hurricane Katrina. It's a fact. I'm stating facts. It's a true fact. And then 2006 to 2007 were boring years. Basically, in those 2 years, people were still fighting over money. And then in 2008, we had no money. The economic collapse of the banks. The banks no longer funded us, and we had no money. And that all started way back in 2001. That's it about him, honestly. He was our 43rd president, 2001 to 2009. Yeah. Okay, on to more fun things. This is a surprise you've been waiting for. 1 second. You cannot film what I'm getting. We're going to learn about Alexander Hamilton. Yay! The reason why I wanted to do this is all because Grover Cleveland served 2 non-consecutive terms. And since there are 45 45 presidents. We didn't have enough presidents. We didn't have 3 presidents for each Atticus Hour I'm going to be doing. So we just filled this blank in with Hamilton. Yay! I've listened to the musical many times. I've actually gone to see it. Probably a lot of you are waiting to see the musical. Just warning you, probably it will be best if you buy the soundtrack if you don't have it, because the tickets, they're really expensive. Even without the original cast, it's still pretty expensive. So anyway, about Hamilton. By the way, this book has all the lyrics to every single Hamilton song. Also, Lin-Manuel Miranda's footnotes. Anyway, so about Alexander Hamilton, he's an orphan. His dad left him, and his mother died when he was around 12. And he was born in the Caribbean. So when he sailed to the United States, it was different for him. And so he was George Washington's right-hand man, Secretary of the Treasury. And when he was Washington's Secretary of the Treasury, this was, of course, after the whole Revolutionary War, which the British surrendered at Yorktown, 1781. So, Hamilton is the founding father. He's Secretary of the Treasury under Washington, and he doesn't agree with anything that Secretary of the State Thomas Jefferson is doing also. Federalists, led by Hamilton, thought that we should need a strong central government, while the Democratic Republicans, run by Thomas Jefferson, thought that the government shouldn't be too strong, that the states should all handle it. So these men didn't get along very well. And that is why there's a cabinet battle number 1 and 2 in the musical. Then Washington leaves office, and you know what I learned? Hamilton actually was Secretary of the Treasury from 1789 to 1795. So I'm wondering, if Washington left office, but Hamilton was still Secretary of the Treasury, he wasn't Secretary of the Treasury for his whole 2 terms. So I'm wondering, it's only a slight mistake. It's only by 2 years. It doesn't even matter. Anyway, and then you have his whole 19-year-old Philip Hamilton being shot and killed in a duel. And then comes the election of 1800. The election of 1800. Dun, dun. Can we get back to politics, please? Yo. No, I'm not going to sing it. This is the Atticus Hour. We need to be serious. So anyway, what happens, there's a tie between Thomas Jefferson and Aaron Burr. They're both Democratic Republicans, by the way. And they both had 73 electoral votes. So they had to ask Hamilton who would be the next president, the 3rd president of the United States. Now, Aaron Burr had been his frenemy. Burr had known Hamilton since 1776. So they have been friends for a very long time. So it was likely that Burr was going to be president, though Burr didn't have any ideas for the presidency, and Jefferson did, including the Louisiana Purchase, which he did do. So Hamilton picks Jefferson, and then Jefferson becomes Hamilton's friend, and that makes Burr drop out and just become really angry. So Burr challenges Hamilton to a duel. Hamilton accepts it. And then Hamilton is shot and then died the next day. And then it's really all about him. He was probably one of the greatest founding fathers ever. You gotta believe me. He's known to be a really great guy. He helped a lot with America. He helped with George Washington, money, a lot of things. So I think that's it, really. I hope this video wasn't too long, counting that George W. Bush and Hamilton were a little long, and Hayes was just so quick. I could get that done easily. But yeah, that's it. I'll see you next time on the Atticus Hour number 11. By the way, don't pause this video just yet, because next time I have another surprise for you. It's not like my Hamilton, but okay, it's hiding over there in the living room. You cannot see it, but it will be waiting for you next time.